He is a civil rights attorney and has represented some of the highest profile civil rights cases in modern history, including Trayvon Martin and George Floyd. Now Ben Crump takes us inside the legal world through his new fictional book, Worse Than a Lie. He tells the story of a civil rights attorney's fight for justice after a black ex-police officer is brutally attacked. And the author of the book joins us now, Mr. Benjamin Crump. Thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on the book. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, do just have to acknowledge the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I know that you all were friends. Give us a sense of how you all met and how he helped to shape your journey as a civil rights attorney.
Certainly, Lindsay. Not only were we friends, he was a mentor to me. He was my Omega Psi Phi fraternity brother. And for me, like so many Americans for the last 50 years, he was the standard bearer for civil rights. It is undeniable the impact he made on America in his historic 1984 run for president of the United States. I mean, that speech at the Democratic National Convention, I believe, is one of the most important speeches in United States history. You know, keep hope alive. I mean, he really became the personification of hope for so many in America.
Do you want to shift gears now?
Okay.
Talk about Worse Than a Lie. So as soon as I started reading, and the main character is Bo Lee Cooper. So I was saying, so Ben Crump, BC. So I had to look up your middle name, Lloyd. So
Yes,
BLC.
ma'am.
So how closely is this really about your life?
Well, there are similarities.
Okay.
They're very similar. I drew from a lot of personal experiences and a lot of real cases to create this legal thriller series that featured a lawyer who looked like me and reflected my culture and beliefs, which was something different from all the other great legal thrillers out there. You know, you got John Grisham, the Rainmaker, Michael Connelly, the Lincoln Lawyer, and the one I grew up with my grandmother watching Perry Mason. And so in my mind, I said, man, I've never seen a superhero trial lawyer that looked like me and reflected my culture. And I said, I wonder why it has never been done, Lindsay? And I said, no, God was saying, they don't understand that lane. That's a lane for you, Ben Crump.
Congratulations. Also in store, just got an Emmy. Of course, you produced a documentary called How to Sue the Klan. How did you come about revisiting this story?
You know, it was young people. These young people said, we learn about this story and we want to produce it. John Beater, and he directed it, and he said, but we need a narrator who has credibility. And so I thank God for having the influence that I have so I can pay homage to those 5 ordinary black women who were racially profiled, shot by the Klan, who intentionally wanted to shoot black people. All of them were grandmothers, Lindsay, and they survived, and then they had the audacity in 1982, Chattanooga, Tennessee, to go sue the Klan. They were not intimidated.
And you are currently still in the throes of seeking justice for a number of high-profile cases. Can you give us a sense of where things stand currently with them?
You know, we have some challenging times, especially with this administration. You know, you had the convictions of the officers in Tyree Nichols' case, the federal convictions. But now it seems that the Department of Justice may be trying to offer them an exoneration of some kind. We saw it happen in Breonna Taylor. So we have work to do. And it reminds me of Jesse Jackson, just to say this. Reverend Jackson once told me when we were working on a hard case, he said, remember, Attorney Crump, you don't drown because the water is deep. You drown because you stop kicking.
When you were receiving an honorary degree not too long ago, I just want to read a quote here. You quoted an old proverb which says, education is of no value if you keep it amongst the educated, that education is going to lift our culture. How do you feel or hope that you're able to lift our culture?
You know, that is the mission, to try to do everything in our power to help give our children a better chance at the American promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Education is the key. Access to capital and economic empowerment, access to quality health care. I believe, Linsey, the powers that be want to keep us sick, stupid, and broke because we're easier to control then. And I vow that I'm going to use every blessing, every resource that God ever gave me to give people, the knowledge and the ability to empower themselves. That's what we need now more than ever.
Ben Crump, we thank you so much for all you do.
No, thank you, Queen.
Thank you. Worse Than a Lie is now out wherever you buy your books.